Okay, I'm showing 3 o'clock. And it seems if everyone is on, and we certainly appreciate this, and we trust that everybody's doing great and had a great weekend. So we are going to start the meeting. As we all know, this is in preparation for tomorrow's meeting, which will be at 9 o'clock by Zoom. But I am calling the meeting to order, and I will call upon Councilman Gordy to lead us with the invocation. Griff.
All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day, Lord. Another day, Lord, that we're blessed to wake up and just live on this earth, Lord. I just thank you for the opportunity, Lord. I just pray that as we come together today, Lord, that your will be done, Lord, and our hearts will be pointed towards your will and the things you want us to do. Father, I just pray for our local government, our department heads, our city employees, our community as a whole, Father, that in everything that we do and everything that we're going through, the pandemic, Lord, the problems with racial injustice, Lord, I just pray that everyone's hearts will be pointed towards you, and everyone will, follow the love that you want us to show for one another, Lord, as we work through things that are difficult sometimes. Father, I just pray that as leaders of the community, Father, that you do the same for us, Father, that in everything that we do, Lord, that we put you first. Lord, I just pray all of these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Councilman Gordon. So, Council, we do not have anyone that would like to request to address us, so we will continue to follow our itinerary. Also, Council and Angel, I know that we do not have anything. The Planning Commission meeting was canceled due to a lack of the agenda item, so we don't have anything there. So at this time, I'd like to call upon the clerk, Melony, to go into the June and July calendars as well as upcoming board appointments. Mrs. Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go over a few dates in June and July. Of course, tomorrow, as the mayor said, we have our council meeting via Zoom at 9 a.m. That would have been the meeting that traveled around, and it would have been at the Central Activity Center. But with everything going on with COVID-19, we're just doing it by Zoom at 9 a.m. Also on Thursday, the 18th, I just want to make sure that y'all are still aware there's a public hearing at 10 a.m. Let's see, that's the Lee Russell Council of Governments public hearing. Angel probably could tell you a little bit more about it, but it's community development block grant application that we're applying for, and I think they have to have a public hearing for that as part of the process. On the 23rd and on the 24th of June, our budget work sessions are scheduled from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. But also June the 24th is Renfro's opening is scheduled for 9 a.m. I think I've heard back from a couple of y'all. Y'all would be fine starting the budget work session at 10 p.m. so that you could attend the Renfro's opening. I didn't know if the whole consensus was wanting to begin at 10 a.m. on that budget work session.
That's fine with me, Mr. Melody.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay also.
Excuse me.
Steve, are you okay?
I'm fine with that. You contacted Melony already.
All right,
yes.
Mrs.
I replied already. Yes, I'm definitely okay with that.
All right. Okay. So 10 o'clock instead of 8:30, and that is the ribbon cutting at 8:30 or 9, Mrs. Lee?
Let me defer that to Shaun. Last I heard, it was going to. They actually opened, I think, at 9:30, but they were going to have the mayor and council there at 9 a.m. The last I heard. Shaun, is that still correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. We threw the option out there. If we needed to do it at 8:30, we could, but 9 would help them to easily transition into their opening at 9:30 as well.
Okay, so all right. So council, everyone has that?
Yes.
9 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, then going into July, just a reminder, we have the July the 4th holiday. July the 4th is actually on Saturday, so we're observing the holiday on Friday. City offices will be closed. We have a work session on July the 6th at 3 p.m., a council meeting at 9 a.m. on July the 7th. Looking on into July, on the 17th, 18th, and 19th are the back to school state sales tax holidays that are scheduled for that weekend. July the 20th is the work session at 3 p.m. and July the 21st is another council meeting at 9 a.m. And then looking on down, there are no upcoming board appointments for the month of July. And that was everything I had, ma'am.
Okay. Council, are there any questions for Mrs. Lee?
We're gonna continue to do all of them in July by Zoom at this point. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Except y'all are actually meeting live for the budget work session at the Martin Idlehour Park Community Center. That's not by Zoom. That's going to be live. I've sent out the public notices on that, and I'll send out another one by Thursday to make sure that, you know, we get the time right for Tuesdays beginning at 10 a.m. But I didn't know what July was going to look like with the COVID numbers and everything. Right now it's not, I don't think it's looking like we probably need to meet in July, but I'm going to wait till we get, you know, we can wait till we get closer to that and see what the numbers look like. Plus, I think the governor may come out with, I don't know, something else, maybe beginning of July.
So the the plans are to continue to have our meetings by Zoom until notice coming from the governor standpoint.
Mayor, I'll just mention right now, I was going to mention that later, but right now while we're talking about it, my schedule got mixed up. I already talked to the mayor and city manager about this, but with tomorrow being a 6 o'clock meeting pre-coronavirus, my work schedule was booked out morning and evening, and I didn't realize it till last night. I talked to you, Wallace.
Yeah.
And I've got like 25 people on the schedule, and I just can't. I looked over the agenda. I discussed it with them, and I won't be on tomorrow morning because I messed up. So I apologize, but we discussed it, and I think that's just going to be the best route for me to take. So I just wanted everybody to know that.
Well, I will tell you this: if that's your first time, I can assure you it won't be your last time.
That's right.
That's
right.
But with that said, following the order, so Mr. Bailey, we'll call upon you to do the prayer.
Mayor,
The next meeting, we will call Griff. You'll do it the next meeting, and then we'll get back on task.
Fine.
I'd like to ask Miss Melony or something, Mayor.
Okay.
Miss Melony, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
With that, you know, with the COVID-19 still in effect, were there any changes in the event over there in Montgomery on the 23rd? You heard anything lately?
No, sir. I've not heard of any changes. As far as I know, that's still on.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else, Melanie?
No, sir. That was everything I had.
Any other questions or comment, council? Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Again, Mr. Bailey, since we're going to follow the sequence, we'll ask you to do the prayer. And the next meeting, Councilman Gordon, you would do the prayer for the next meeting. And that way we can get back on track. Is that all?
Fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wallace, anything to say under the work session that you'd like to add, take away?
No, sir. I just hope everybody continue to try to stay safe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, these numbers are growing and it's dangerous out there. So you got to think twice for that before you go out in some unnecessary places. You know, we take chances, but you could very easily end up in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty, and put a lot of other people in quarantine at the same time. It multiplies. So I hope everybody be very careful.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Any other items of discussion, council, before we get into the discussion for the agenda item for tomorrow? Anything per se? Okay.
I didn't have anything.
I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson.
I said I did not have anything.
Okay.
Thing to the house, and I'm gonna be on the city meeting here for about an hour and a half. You come back, I'll talk to you. We'll see what I can do.
Multitasking. You have to do that. Okay, so council, we will proceed on and for the discussion of the agenda for in the morning. And I would ask that our council, if there's any questions specifically that you think you may have on tomorrow. I do know we can forget some things, but we would like to ask those questions today just to kind of speed up the process for tomorrow as well as today. So with that said, council, the meeting is at 9 o'clock in the morning by Zoom, as we've all just heard. So after that, the invocation will be done by Councilman Bailey. As Mr. Gordy just explained, he won't be there, and rightfully so, and we'll just switch those or flip-flop those particular meetings. And the Pledge of Allegiance, Councilman Bailey will be led by you, since you are also doing the prayer.
Okay.
Okay, and again, we will, as for lack of a better word, we will flip-flop that for the next meeting where Councilman Gordy will do the invocation and the pledge, and then after that, we'll be on track again with Councilwoman Johnson and Councilmember Day and start it back over. We do not have any presentation or proclamations at this time, and then after that, under the City Clerk Council, as you see, I will ask for a motion for the approval of the June 1st work session as well as June the 2nd council meeting. And at the pleasure of the council, we'll take those in one vote since everyone was there. If that's okay with the council.
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Then on the city council, unfinished business, if there's something between here and yonder, as I say, think of something. We will have that opportunity in the morning. And then after that, we would continue with the resolutions and on the administration. We have a resolution number 2020-150 to be ratified in reference to a one-time essential worker and hazardous duty compensation for permanent full-time employees. I will ask Ms. Lee to read that proclamation and resolution, read the resolution, and after that, I will ask for a motion to ratify as well as a second. Okay?
Okay.
Any comments or discussion? A question? This is the time for the questions.
I have one in reference to that one. So it's just for full-time. Do we have any part-time that have work, during this time? And if so, what are we doing to compensate them in the lights of COVID-19?
Ms. Johnson, that should be for part-time and full-time. All employees that work during that time period receive that bonus.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so we will ask for a motion and a second for that to be ratified after Mrs. Lee read it. Okay, proceeding on the administrations. We have a resolution in reference to appointing Russell County Probate Judge Alfred M. Harding Jr. as an election consultant. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read the resolution and ask for a motion on the second council. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
I just got one question. One time we brought up, or Alfred brought up, that he would possibly just do the whole election, and then it kind of went away. Then it kind of came back up, I think, in conversation later again around us, or Mr. Wallace mentioned it one time. Is that just something that just at this point in time just don't need, won't do, or we just don't have a need for it? What's your take on that, Mayor?
From my perspective, and Mr. Hunter, you also chime in too. Since it's basically for the city, that's one of the reasons why we want to have him as a consultant.
Okay.
Because I think at some point at the time that was discussed, and Mr. Hunter, correct me if I'm wrong, is that there was a nominal fee if we did just allow him. From what I remember, which could be very dangerous. So with that, I know Melony has really stepped up to the plate and really has done a lot of due diligence. And so from the aspect of maybe saving some money, I think we can never go wrong from doing that, providing that she has the prerequisites to do it. So Mr. Hunter, anything that
No, I follow, me and Melony work close on that. So she'll be able to speak on that better than I can because of her office having control. And that's where most of the questions are going to come to that city clerk's office is dealing with a city election.
If I can say something, I think when this first came up, I think it more came up because of the voters list, but all of that's been taken care of since then.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I'm thinking that, you know, and Miss Melony does a wonderful job. She stays on top of everything. And she would still be, if I'm assuming correctly, even if Alfred took it over, I'm thinking that Melony would still be in charge of the absentees and things. So she would still have, you know, a lot of responsibility anyway. So I'm thinking since the voters list has been taken care of and she does such a good job, she stays on top of everything, and she's done a wonderful job that she's taken over. I'm thinking that it's okay too, but I just wondering if that had kind of fallen by the wayside, because I know this is kind of standard procedure for each election that I remember within the last couple of them. So I just wanted to bring that up and find out if it was still on the table or not on the table anymore, or even needed if it was still on the table.
I do know that she has met with Alfred as well as with Mr. Graham. And so, Melony, I don't want to speak for you, but you want to chime in?
Honestly, it's probably better if the city retains the control of this municipal election.
That's correct.
But I mean, you know, if y'all want to vote and go with Alfred, you know, I'm sure that, you know, he probably wouldn't have a problem with helping the city out. Alfred is, he helps any way that he can.
I think.
Let me say this, Mayor, if I may, let me say this, if I may, please. As it's been stated, it was wise for the city to take control of its own election. Now, I'm sure Melony's capable of doing that. Of course, she's been to some training and everything. I'm sure she's up to date on what's going on, what intend to happen in the future. I'm sure she can handle that.
Mr. Hunter, you were about to say something?
It's not down to that. We don't have any problems right now. Melony is doing a fine job, and Alfred is working with us real super, so we don't have any problems. It's on the table, just one of those good relationship things between Melony's office and Alfred's office that they're going to work together to make sure things are taken care of. So I think it got everything under control. You know, we had problems, you know, down there. We had problems with Board of Registers. So some of that's been cleared up. A lot of that's been cleared up. So we got new people down there that's taking care of things. So when the lists come out, you know, we had to go all the way to the state level. And Melony did a good job putting all that in perspective. So the questions, like I say, all the questions for this municipal election are going to come right to her office, into this office. So with her having it in place and us having a direct line to Alfred, you know, I think everything is set up real good right now.
Okay. If I can say something else, I think just like Mr. Hunter just said, just like Miss Melony just said, she's capable of doing it just like Councilman Day said. No issues there. If we did go the other route that had been mentioned before, and that's the only reason I brought it up, because it had been mentioned, we would still have to go through Lee County up there in part of my district. And we'd have to probably have Lee County probate judge involved. And we don't need to get 3 or 4 entities involved in a city election. It needs to stay as a city election and be, you know, managed by the city. But we got the right people in place. Miss Melony is, and like Mr. Hunter just said, with the Board of Registers down there, that situation got taken care of. And I think that was the biggest rubbing point, was the voters list. And so now that's been taken care of. So everybody's on the same voters list. We got one list for everybody, I'm pretty sure, at this point in time. And I'm sure it's going to stay that way, and it should. So I think the same thing, that it's perfectly fine to leave it as it is. I didn't really particularly want to change it, but I did want to bring it up because it had been mentioned. Yes. So that's the reason I brought it up. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. So we will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of that as far as the probate judgment election consultant. Then following on the administration is a resolution in reference to appointing Mark Hightower as election custodian. We'll ask Mrs. Lee to read that resolution as you all have read, and we'll ask for a motion and a second on that. And as you've all read, the last one person signed, and we see the process that comes from the county. So we'll ask for a motion in a second on that. Go ahead, Mr. Bailey.
What name did you say? Mark Hightower?
Mark Hightower.
All right, because mine says Rusty Robbins.
That was the one that
He
resigned.
resigned.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, it should be
I'm
Mark
looking
Hightower.
okay.
Yeah, he
My
resigned.
paperwork says- Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, discussion? Okay, and also on the administration for resolutions is a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city manager to sign documentation and accept an offer from Timothy Ambrose Alexander and Lakeisha N. Alexander to purchase property located at 2401 7th Street in an amount of $9,000. We'll ask Ms. Lee to read that resolution, and council will ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
How long has the city had that property? Since '01?
This is Shaun, Mr. Bailey. I'm not exactly sure when we purchased that property. Steve, are you familiar?
I'm not sure of the exact date. It's been several years ago, but I'm not sure of the exact date. I'd have to go look at the paperwork, but it's been many years ago that we bought it, Mr. Bailey.
We only started marketing, I think, that last year and a half, 2 years ago, I think, somewhere around that time frame.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank
Okay.
you. Look like
Thank
we
you.
sold it for a fair price, yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Next.
John.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Next on the building department, we have a resolution in reference to rescinding resolution number 2019-304 in reference to awarding a bid for demolition of structures located at 1304 17th Court. We will ask Ms. Lee to read that. After the reading of that, I will ask for a motion in a second for approval. And I hope you all read to see why it's been rescinded. But again, we will ask for a motion in a second to rescind that resolution. Okay? Comments or discussion or questions? All right, proceeding on the building department. Then there's a resolution in reference to awarding a bid to J&J Land Development Incorporation for the demolition of a structure located at 1304 17th Court in an amount not to exceed $6,000. We'll ask for a motion and a second for approval after the reading of the resolution, council. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. Then, on the building department, we have 3 resolutions and public notices in reference to setting public hearing dates and fixing demolition costs associated with the following properties located in Phenix City, and I will read those out tomorrow. And after that, council, we'll ask for the clerk to read one master resolution and the public notice. And after that, we'll ask for a motion to approve the resolution and the public notice. And if it's a pleasure, we'll do it all at once, okay?
Okay.
Fine.
Everyone agree with that?
That's fine, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or comments or discussion? Okay, if there's not any, proceeding on the engineering department. We have a resolution in reference to accepting a proposal from ACOM Technical Services Incorporation for supplemental construction, engineering, and inspection services in an amount not to exceed $43,035. After the reading of that resolution, council, we will ask for the motion and a second for the approval of that resolution. Comments or questions? Okay. Proceeding on the engineering department. Is also a resolution in reference to authorizing representatives of the U.S. Post Office Development to perform work on city right-of-ways east of and adjacent to the development located at 1411 14th Street. We'll ask for a motion and a second for the approval of that as after Ms. Lee read the resolution. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
What is that, the driveway that comes out on the 14th Street over there on the backside of Jimmy's office? Is that what they're talking about?
No, sir. It's actually on Crawford Road, that area, 13th Street. I think it used to be the old Claudette's Treasures building. But we have
Okay.
an alleyway beside that where we have a right of way, which is currently being used to service a, excuse me, a cell tower now, but they are going to improve that and pave it. So we're recommending that we allow this encroachment.
Okay.
You know, Mr. Bailey, next to the old bread and hardware.
Right. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
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 But
Right
they
there on
will-
the left down there. Right.
Yeah.
But that would be no cost to the city though, right?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comment, discussion, council? All right, proceeding on the engineering department. We have a resolution in reference to declaring 4 black office chairs and 1 tan office chair as surplus to be sold as scrap or disposed of at the city landfill. We'll ask for a motion and a second for the approval of that resolution after Mrs. Lee reading. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay, proceeding under the fire department. We have a resolution in reference to declaring items as surplus which are no longer serviceable to be sold as scrap or disposed of at the city landfill. We'll ask for a motion and a second for approval after the reading of that resolution. Comments, questions, or discussion? Okay. Then on the Parks and Recreation, we have a resolution in reference to approving the purchase of 2 grasshopper lawnmowers from Mo Ridge Manufacturing Incorporation in a total amount not to exceed $15,840. So we will ask, and this is a budgeted item, council, and we will ask for the motion and a second for approval.
Okay.
Any comments or questions or discussion?
Have we done any type of business with them prior to this one? They was awarded the contract, but have we established a relationship already with them?
Yes, ma'am. It's actually the Morris Manufacturer, the manufacturing company. We're actually purchasing the mower from a business in Columbus. But that's the manufacturer where we purchased it from. We do business with this company all the time.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, or discussion? Thanks, Todd. All right, if none, proceeding on Parks and Recreation is a resolution in reference to declaring various items as surplus to be sold as scrap or destroyed at the city landfill. Council, I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of that resolution. Comments or questions or discussion?
I was looking at the list on this stuff. Is any of this stuff sellable at an auction or something? Or if it is, does the city, do they do it with sealed bid, or they have a municipal auction like Columbus? How does that work?
Yes, sir. Any of that stuff is that we turn over to IT, and with the police department, I think they got a site that we sell most of those vehicles and stuff on, but most of the other stuff is just scrap. We've used parts off of it and scrapped and scrounged to get all the good out of it. But the only things that will be, that may be of value will be some of those vehicles. And that's something that we coordinate with IT department to do that.
Okay. I just, like I said, it was such a big list. It would just look like there might be some stuff on there that people would buy to use or whatever. So I just didn't know for sure how that worked, because it's such a large list. Looked like it was, might be some stuff in there that would be sellable. Correct. Because y'all already doing that, so that's fine. That's not a problem.
Steve, I can tell you that IT department uses GovDeals for the public. If you go to govdeals.com, that's where a lot of municipal governments sell surplus property. So we do sell our stuff on GovDeals. Cars, we use a local vendor, Valley Auto Auction out on Opelika. So that's what we use.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions, or discussion, council? Okay, proceeding on the police department. There's a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor, city manager, and chief of police to sign an agreement with Alabama Power Company for a license plate reader known as LPR camera system for the police department. We'll ask the clerk to read that resolution, and council will ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any comments, questions, or discussion?
Yes, Mayor, we would like for the chief to elaborate on that for the citizens tomorrow. Also, Chief, I'd like to ask the questions for myself here. I know in the past we had a license plate reader, a scanner. Did we purchase one of those in the past?
Yes, sir. Actually, yes, sir. We've used this technology for a number of years. We have an LPR vehicle that roams around the city on normal patrol. And these cameras are going to be more than just license plate readers. They're going to be helpful in helping us monitor traffic flow. They'll be helpful in tracking individuals in the city that we may be looking for, and also recovering stolen cars. Many people don't know this, but Columbus, Georgia is probably one of the highest per capita stolen cars in the area or in the United States. And so we get quite a bit of recovered stolen vehicles, and this will help us do some of that. And I also want to throw up recognition to IT. Our IT department does a great job with putting surveillance and IT cameras all over the city. Just about every city asset, whether it be the building or any properties that we own, IT does a real good job in putting those cameras out for us to maintain surveillance and protection over those assets. But this project here will allow us to be even more widespread and allow us to use power poles. The power company, of course, owns the power poles, and they're real particular about what kind of equipment goes on their power poles. So this agreement will allow us to work with Alabama Power. David Queenie reached out to me sometime, and this is what we think is going to be a really good idea to help us increase our visibility throughout the city to be able to respond to problems more effectively. So that's what this stuff's going to be used for.
So they're going to be certain power poles throughout the city.
Right. Alabama Power will work with this company that has a contract with Alabama Power, and so we'll be able to use the Alabama Power poles to mount some of this equipment to be able to again watch traffic. It's very similar to a red light camera system that we have on some intersections. That does a similar kind of thing, but this will just be, it won't write red light tickets or anything like that, but it'll give us intelligence and information on where we see problems at in the city. So it just makes us, it's a force multiplier, gives us a better understanding of what's going on out in the city.
Well, that's good. I think it's certainly needed. I'm glad we had the foresight to see, something like this. How soon are we planning to get started with installing these, Chief?
Well, we'll get the contracts back after you guys approve them tomorrow, assuming you do, and we'll get those to Alabama Power. But we hope probably in the first quarter of next year, we'll have most of them already deployed. 2 of them will be mobiles that we'll have mounted on trailers, so that'll be even helpful too. So we won't be stuck with a location. If we have a hot spot that we need to move a camera to, we can use those trailers to move them and capture that area. They have
Is this going to be? It looks like it's going to be at 4 different locations with the hard stuff. How do they monitor this stuff? Do we have an officer that sits there and looks at it daily, or do we just monitor them periodically?
Both. Some of them set up on, some of them set up on alarms so that they'll give us a warning, and kind of like a Ring doorbell. Somebody shows up at your door, tells you that they're there, so it gives us an email or an alert on your phone. It's quite good technology. So they also have some what they call shot spotters, and what happens is if there's a gunshot in the area, they'll send us a notification and tell us about where it's at, and we'll be able to respond to that gunshot without the community even having to call us, and that'll hopefully get us in the area quicker and use some of that technology to actually even pinpoint where that gunfire is coming from. So there's all kinds of different things that this technology can be used for, and IT will be instrumental in helping us monitor and utilize that technology and leveraging it.
And that also would slow down burglary in the area. And
absolutely,
like
absolutely. Some of the cameras will be strategically located so that cars going in and out of neighborhoods, if we have a burglary, it gives us some cars to go look for as possible suspects and that kind of thing. So again, it can be used for a myriad of different things. It's just leveraging technology is really quite impressive what it can do, and we're excited about getting started on it.
Now, what the monthly fee on that, Chief? Did I look at that right? 1833.33.
Yes, sir. That's what is monthly, and that'll be a 2-year, 24-month agreement, and after that, it'll be month to month. Kind of we feel like two years will give us a good understanding of if it's helping us or if it's not, and if it's worth the money. But it's a good discount for us as well from what other cities are paying. Several cities like New Orleans and I think Auburn also is starting this project as well. But it'll be good because we'll also be able to share information amongst the different cities as well. So that's going to be quite impressive to see how that's going to work out.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, discussion? So we will ask for a motion in a second for the approval of that resolution, council. Then after that, we'll turn it over to our city attorney, Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Mayor and council, we have one claim on the agenda today. That claim's filed by Anthony B. Adams Jr., lives at 65 Lee Road, 2142, Phenix City. He hit a pothole on Sunday, May the 31st, 2020, on County Road 213, Evans Road, off of 80 West by Wendy's in Phenix City. We do not, you got Angel's memorandum, we do not maintain that portion of that road. It is maintained by Russell County, and I'll be notifying Mr. Adams that his claim is going to be denied and why, and defer him to the county.
Okay. So your recommendation is to deny the claim, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. Any questions, comments, or discussion, council? Okay. Mr. Hunter, of course, we'll call on you, but is there anything you would like to add or take away from today's meeting?
You know, I'd just like to say, reiterate, hope everybody can stay safe and be very careful out there. The numbers are still growing out there with the pandemic, and they're still working on it. So we got to be pretty smart with what we're doing. And I'd like to say, speak a little bit on the march over the weekend. It was very orderly. It went real good. You know, you have to listen. There's a lot of different viewpoints that we got to do a lot of listening and got to hear what people are saying, and people got to learn the proper procedures and what to follow to get things changed. They don't just change overnight. People going to have different opinions. When it comes to a protest and people are protesting, as a government, we basically have to listen at the same time. People look for us to be involved. Sometimes it's a catch-22. When you get out there and you speak, you know, it's not that it's turning political, but if you all are incumbents, people are going to be looking for what are you all going to do at this point to help them feel safer. And the relationships, we plan to do a lot of things with the relationships with our police officers. I talked to a few of them Saturday, you know, and they understand what predicament and what situation they're in right now. It's a lot of things that you gotta think about before you make a move these days, even with keeping people protected and making sure things are okay. And the chief do a real good job of talking to the people that work for him and work for us here as far as being involved. And we know we got to get deeper into the schools again. We got to get deeper into the communities again with people. A lot of trust has got to be restored. Even though it didn't happen here, we still carry the name, you know, of having a police department and the way people judge and look at things. At the same time, you know, we have a lot of things that's been for years been an injustice to all people. You know, it's been tough at times, but you know, especially the things that's happening to a lot of people out there on the streets and other places. So you people have to be careful. You have to watch your actions and be respectful of one another. And you know, it's not never killed anybody to be a little kind to anybody, but it's taking some understanding and it's taking getting out here. It's a matter of action now and making sure we have things in place here and try to set the example for other places to look at. That's what I always believed in. You know, Phenix City is a good city. We have a perfect sized city, as far as I'm concerned, as far as trying to get things taken care of and have a real good workforce and people to work with and work for. Now, like I said before, it's tough right now. I was with Chief Sheriff William Alexander the other day, and even in speaking with him, he's been down there over 33 years. And he's also been in the reserves for 34 plus. When we was finishing our meeting, he was leaving then to go and report to the reserve. So a lot of people don't understand. It's not just the pandemic that we're fighting here that could put people in isolation and take them away from your workforce. It's also when they get called up to the Guard and the different reserves, that can replenish our workforce here. And we have a lot of people that's in public service and throughout. We have people who work in public works and everywhere else that's still pulling weekend duties to help protect this country. So every day here is changing as far as trying to stay safe and praying and trying to stay, focused to make sure we keep an eye on what we have to do to run this city. The thing about it, this is no time to take a break, and we got to stay on top of things because different people have different ideas in the way they should report things, and they shouldn't. Even if it's written down and it's put in policy, everything else, we still have confusion. We have too much confusion, to be honest with you, because there's only one way. If you've been around people that's been exposed and it's a problem, first thing you should do, report that to here and not show up at work or come to work. And we've had people that's tried to do that. Luckily we caught some things and it put us in a predicament because we don't get the close. We don't get to shut down. We don't want people shutting us down either because so many people depend on us. This may not be the place for you to work for if you think you could be like other people. It's different because it's different. That's what people need to understand. We're public servants, and even though we're human beings and we have families and we have a lot of things, our families got to know. And if somebody hadn't told their family what kind of job they got and what kind of profession, we might need to take time to sit down and tell them that. Sometimes it's a risky profession. In this profession, with our emergency workers, we go to things that people run away from. If you're going, just like the reserves, anything else, anybody been in the military here and there, whatever, you got to understand this. When it gets tough, you don't get to run away. You got to be out there. So you better stay prayed up and try to follow the right procedures, which you're supposed to be taking care of and doing. That's all I have to say.
Man, can I say something?
Yes, sir.
On what Mr. Wallace was just talking about, I've been thinking about it ever since you had your unity meeting at the amphitheater the other day. Is there some way that the city and the county, it doesn't have to be the county, but I'm just thinking of our community, and our community is all in one. Is there some way we can get some time on some of these billboards or something, and maybe come up with something showing that the sheriff department, our police department, and our community matter to each other? Is there some type of message we can put out there where people can see and put the positive on their mind rather than all this negative on their mind?
We can do that, but you all are already on the billboards, and the fire department and the police department. We had that put up some time ago as far as making sure that you all out there, but we would have to get in touch with someone from their agencies and see do they want to join in. But you all have already put out there to make sure the citizens knew that this Phenix City government was right there with them. But with a combined effort and a combined thing, that'd be fine. But they would have to appoint a person to get with us so that we can take care of that.
Yeah, I just like what was mentioned the other day. The citizens of the whole area and the whole United States need to realize that, they matter to everybody and that they, we care about them. And I know they know that, but they see so much negative on TV and hear so much negative. I'm just thinking of some way that we could, put a positive, something positive in front of them is I guess that's where I'm coming from, and really don't know how to say it. But there needs to be a positive message out there that our police department is here for their protection and to serve them and to take care of them. The sheriff's department, same thing. The city government, same thing. County government, same way. We're here for them. The churches are here for them. Different community organizations are here for them. I just think people need to know all that. I'm thinking that so much bad gets the publicity that the good just gets, overtaken and look beyond is what I'm saying.
Mr. Bailey, on Thursday, was it Thursday, Chief, or what day was Friday? It was on Friday, the chief and myself and the sheriff and chief sheriff and the NAACP president recorded at cable TV East Alabama, and that will be coming out pretty soon too.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, right. That's where I'm coming from.
It's going to go probably 3 different parts. We was out there just about almost 3 hours recording and taking care of things. And we did that to go along with, like I say, with everything that we have on our boards and stuff throughout the city, as far as making sure with message from the council, we're, you know, going through this pandemic, want you to know we're here with you all. That's throughout the city, along with, they took pictures with fire department, police department. Shaun worked along with IT, and they got everything rolling out there. But we did an extensive show that we plan to go back and do some more, and gave out a ton of information for people to understand, because people got to know the procedures and the policies that we have in place, and they know that we hadn't forgotten them and doing some things. But I will tell you, sometimes, you know, with everything that's going on, we know we jump out front to take care of other things and stuff like that. But some of the other agencies at times, you know, not to throw anybody under the bus, you know, but it's tough dragging other people into things that they got to show some vision. Right. And they're going to have to show some things that they supposed to show to get out there. We don't mind pulling them along with us, but we did an extensive show. And I think it's something that everybody will enjoy, and they will get a ton of information from it.
Okay, well, thank you. That's what I'm talking about, is something of that nature, to take what the mayor put together the other day and take it, you know, another step or two further, because that was, you know, very much so needed in our community. And people need to know that our community is still solid, still strong, and we're still united together. We don't have these issues that some of these other communities have. We have, you know, good police chiefs, good fire chiefs, good employees, good department heads that watch over the city. And then, of course, Mr. Hunter, yourself, you watch over it very well for all of them. So I just think the people in our community need to know that type of information, because it should help them to understand that, you know, they're not having to walk down the street to dodge a bullet or dodge a problem or have their businesses burned out or something like that. We just, you know, you're staying, as the mayor said the other day, you're staying proactive. And that's what I just want people to realize, that our city is a proactive city. And, you know, we just want everybody to be comfortable as they can be in today's world with the unrest and the COVID-19. But I just think that, you know, maybe sometimes drastic problems require just a little more effort, as the mayor and everybody stated the other day.
When we sat there the other day, we realized something between myself and the chief and the sheriff and chief deputy down there. We had over 130 years of service for the city and county. And we thought about something. My first round here in '82, when I was hired, the chief's father was still working with the county, and I was working with the sheriff's father at the fire department. At the same time, we was into investigations. So both of them fought for coming up through there, and then with Chief Alexander, the same thing. They were bred for this. And I say, if anybody can give the answers and get down to the bottom of a community and knowing the people like we do, it should be us. The thing I like about it most is that we don't always have to agree on things, but between us, that next day, if we don't agree on something, overnight, that next morning, we're gonna be on the phone with each other or meeting with each other to make sure we have a resolution for this community. And that's been the good, very good thing about it. And we've been able to maintain those type of relationships for a long time, because we serve this community, and I'm dead set on that. And any of these department heads will tell you that. This is a time where we really have to work and show what Phenix City has done for us. Phenix City provided a lot for me and my family, and a lot of people that's around us, as far as educating us, giving us the opportunity to go different places and bring things back, show people that's not from here how we do it and the way we do it in Phenix City, open-mindedness to learn from other people and protect people who really don't know. And we have and what you all have, you know, is a good set of department heads that's right now, like I always say, I say we're at the point to where we don't have excuses now. You got a lot of knowledge and a lot of people that's here. And, you know, a lot of these, you get connected more so, and looking at that, you don't have to worry about training them. They know what to do. They get out there and they work hard. It's just, we have a tremendous workload right now. And if we didn't have the stand-up type people that we have to do this, there's no time for amateurs at this time right now. That's
kind of what I was getting to.
Yeah.
People need to realize how solid our department heads are and our total city, managers department. And people need to realize that they do an excellent job, and you allow them to do their job, which is a wonderful thing. And, that lets you do your job and not have to, you can't afford to be a babysitter. Today ain't the day to be a babysitter for somebody.
No.
They got to be able to, like you said, step up to the plate, make a decision, and know what to do. And I'm just tickled to death we have those kind of people, involved in our city. Yeah.
And it's been tough too, Mr. Bailey, because even going to the second level of those departments, because you all might, sometimes y'all will notice and you won't notice, but the department heads, we have been through a little bit where some of our departments heads have been out and the number twos had to step up and they had to step up from home, but they have suffered some things too from this pandemic. And we have to watch it within the departments too. So it's been, I'm telling you, I have done a lot of praying, a tremendous amount, because you don't never know when it's gonna hit you, and you hope it don't hit number 1 and 2 and 3, because at that point in time, I have to try to step in, and I'm 60 years old, I gotta be careful and take a look at what happens at this particular point of something. So I've been over, protected, making sure I can't afford, to get sick. I'm praying to God every day. Let me make it through this. You spoiled me this long. You've had me this way this long. Stay with me, because trying to make it through this and seeing the department heads, when you get that call that someone's sick, real sick, and they're there, well, who else have they been with? Because we're a pretty close group and we have to be careful, but then we have to be disciplined with each other to try to stay safe. It's tough out here, because I'm looking at the screen now and I'm counting the different ones that's been missing before and been out of here in and out, and I'm glad to see their faces and stuff like that. So we got to be real, and we're in the middle of budget. We got the first school board election that's coming up. We got the election for the council seats that's coming up. We already know what's going to happen in November with some of the counties and stuff. This year has been one of the most challenging years there is. If we can make it through, those of us that make it through this year, hopefully we'll get a breather, because this is going to play out the rest of this year. I tell people, get ready when they keep saying,
I think so too.
Yes, it's going to be unsafe to think you're coming up out of this right now. This is not one of those things you can rush. It's a life-changing event for the whole country, and that's it, throughout the whole world. It's a life-changing event. And we got these different things that's going on now, protests all through the place. You got, it's chaotic in a lot of places. When you leave these confined areas of Phenix City and go to other places, it's just like I was telling them when we was talking the other day, training my son or training anybody else how to deal with police officers and having respect and conducting yourself and not being provoked no matter what, because it's too dangerous. The key to it, you can have any complaint you want, behave yourself to get back home to have that complaint. You can't have a complaint being silent, against yourself. When I leave here as a city manager, when I leave within this city's limits and go through other cities or go to other places, those people don't know me, and I don't know them. And there's certain things, if I was to get pulled over or get stopped, there's certain ways I know to try to conduct myself. And I have been provoked. I've been provoked right here in this city when one officer identified me and said, I seen you in the newspaper, and the other officer that was at the sheriff department told him to be quiet. And I was at my place of business, and this person tried to push me, and I let him know, I say, you probably need to call the sheriff, because I'm too old of a man now to let you provoke me. I'm not going there with you. I say, I own this place and that's it. So I know it's real. And I know what people will do. Now, the sheriff took care of that, him, the chief deputy, and Ray, remember that was 11 years ago. And I've seen what people can do now. When you're doing that with younger people, that can cause a problem. So we do have some things, and I know I'm talking a lot. People need to think, we have police officers here. They see a lot of things like the fire department. We go to things that people run away from. All right. When that freshman police officer that you have that comes in bright-eyed and bushy a lot of the time, And that's different. We get a lot of people from the military. You got to remember, we're dealing with a lot of things when people finish their military duty. We're dealing with the person that gets married, that come here and 20-some years old, that have 2 kids and get divorced. And he goes through something and working on 2 or 3 marriages. Some of y'all might have not known this, but you can take a look. When I came through, public safety was the highest divorce rate people in the country. The only people that beat us during the time I came in was coal miners. You're away from home a lot. You go through a lot of mental changes. So we have got to implement things where people would have to go through evaluations every so many years because they change in the things that they see and do in their life change. So it's a lot of things that me and the chief will be working on with the sheriff and working with people to get change, because we got to look at things so much differently. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ball it down. To get the right person, we got to be the right person.
That's right.
Mayor, I like to say that as I listen to Mr. Hunter, very diligent, other on the council, as I sat here and listened about our community. You know, I sat here and I thought about the years and time that I also spent in this community. As I look at the different boards that I serve on, it took 18 years on different boards here, and Phenix City, and then with the council 8 years. That's a total of 26 years here that I serve in the community. That's not including the 3 years that I did with the Russell County Sheriff's Department. And I do love this community. And one of the things that Mr. Hunter said, that is so true. In order to, and when an officer stops you, just do what you're supposed to do. You know, adhere to his command. You know, I remember the time that we had back in the day that George Smith and I were down in the south side of the county. I'm not going to go in detail, but there was some hard time because we weren't able to give anybody tickets and stuff like that because the sheriff department was not up to par. Thomas Bardwell, the one bought the sheriff department up to par, is a good friend of mine. And you know, I've experienced some of those things that you experienced, Mr. Hunter. But there too again, we got to be a very open-minded individual. We got to be careful how we talk to people and how we treat folks. You know, that goes a long way. And I like to say to the chief, our chief here, and I like to say to you, Mr. Hunter, we being proactive with our law enforcement. You know, there's a lot going on, not only here, right across the river, right up there in Atlanta. I look at all that stuff. But Phenix City is blessed. We have not experienced that yet. And I hope we don't have to, because we are being proactive. Mayor, this is all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, let's not forget in the morning at 9 o'clock, and Mr. Gordy, we will miss you, but we certainly understand. We just appreciate you. And department heads and all of that, we hope to see you all tomorrow too. So with that said, let's be careful, let's be safe. And like I said, let's make sure we're the right person. So with that being said, we do stand adjourned. See you all by the grace of God in the morning.
Thank
See
you.
you in the morning.